Adaptation Fund projects help vulnerable communities around the world adapt and build resilience to the negative impacts of climate change. Because these projects are often the very first concrete adaptation projects implemented, they serve as valuable models that can be scaled up within the country or replicated in regions facing similar climate challenges.
Many of our projects have been scaled up after the initial Adaptation Fund investment, and that's one of the key features of the Adaptation Fund, that they offer something to build on.
To date, 18 successful projects from the Adaptation Fund portfolio have been the basis for transformational change, where these pilot initiatives have been scaled up or replicated. We see examples of scaling up across the fund's portfolio. In Senegal, the Adaptation Fund worked with CSE, Centre de Suivi Écologique, to build resilience against sea rise, protecting people, houses, and economic and cultural infrastructure.
Le projet a été très bénéfique pour le Sénégal. Donc, dans ce projet-là, et il était question qu'on arrive à un changement d'échelle.
The initial funding was about $8.6 million from the Adaptation Fund, and the project was to help the country, Senegal, to deal with coastal erosion, which is one of the biggest issues the country faces in terms of climate change issues. The project has been completed with some hard infrastructure like the seawall and so on. Given the success of the project, the country has approached the Green Climate Fund to expand the solution that have been generated by this project. So the GCF came on board with a new project for about 8 million in addition, to continue the activities that we have implemented.
Meanwhile, working with India's NIE, NABARD, the Adaptation Fund piloted a project to help the vulnerable villages in the Andhra Pradesh region protect their livelihoods by protecting their coastal areas.
The project aims to reduce the climate change vulnerability along the Krishna Delta by integrated mangrove fishery farming system, where mangroves and aquaculture are integrated, and culturing of sea bass in the floating cages. These adaptation strategies not only reduce the climate change vulnerability, but also it enhances the livelihood security of the community.
There is a large scope of expansion of these activities along the coastal area of Andhra Pradesh and also in other coastal areas of the country.
The best way to scale a project is to plan for it, at the very beginning during project design.
The fund instituted a new scale-up grants window to help implementing partners whose projects are near completion to prepare the needed steps to receive funding from other sources.
The project in Rwanda, we had initial funding with the Adaptation Fund, and the project is a great example. It shows how the scaling up grant is important, because sometimes we have a nice project on the ground delivering concrete results, but from this project to the next step, there is a gap here. And without this kind of funding, there is no possibility for the countries to bridge this gap and to make sure that the project moves to a next step.
With over 130 concrete projects in nearly 100 countries, the Adaptation Fund has carefully amassed an enormous amount of valuable information and experience, which it shares among its implementing partners and with other organizations addressing climate change adaptation.
The knowledge management that we do at the fund by creating that knowledge base and sharing it with interested countries and other stakeholders around the world is crucial to providing the base for scalability and also replicability of successful interventions. And we really see it as our duty to gather and share this knowledge with interested parties around the world.